Video, we're going to run through the Guided Pathways planning process. Once you've logged into Nova, you will land on your bookmarks page. From there, you would want to navigate to Programs, Guided Pathways, Projects. Once you've done that, a list will populate of all of the Guided Pathways plans. There are some filters across the top, so it will make it easy for you to find what you're looking for. You can do that by name, institution, year will default to the current year, or the status. So for this example, we're going to use Allen Hancock College. For the sake of this demonstration, most of the information has been completed, just to make this go a little bit quicker. But here are the workflow steps. You can see that there's validation on each workflow step. So if you haven't completed it, it will be fairly obvious. And we also have this error stepper on the side that will show you there's one error. If you click that, it'll take you right to the missing item. So the first tab is the Details tab. This is mostly informational. You'll want to read this guidance text. There are scale of adoption definitions here, so if you have a question on those as you're running through the plan, you can always reference this. And then at the bottom there are a series of insurances, one saying I've read and it will adhere to the Guided Pathways legislation and goals. Check, and we'll see I haven't passed validation. I am familiar with the student success metrics. Once I click that, I've completed everything necessary on this tab. My validation goes to completed, and I can move on to the next step. Nothing in Nova prevents you from moving on to future steps if you haven't completed the one prior, just an FYI. But here's where we're going to determine who the people are that are collaborating on this project. So we have Paul here, he's the project director. And then we have some alternate contacts. So Paul has the ability to edit and submit this project, as well as the alternate lead projects. So he's added Antonio, Jenny, and Robert, as well as Paul. While adding somebody as a contact, you're also going to give them the ability to edit this. So if somebody has joined your team and you want to give them the ability, you can simply add contact, write in their name. They will need to be a Nova user at that point. If they're not a Nova user, they can go to the Nova homepage and request an account. And then down below, these are your approver contacts. So you'll want to write in the name of your chancellor or president and the academic senate president. These will be the folks that are going to approve your Guided Pathways plan. So once you have the names completed, you have to have a minimum of one for the project director. We can move on to the student success metrics. This is a simple step. It's just an assurance saying that you agree to share student success metric data as part of the Guided Pathways process. Great. And then we get into the bulk of the planning, which is clarifying the path, get on the path, stay on the path, and ensure learning. So let's run through those. They all work in the same way. They just have different items associated with it. So good guidance text here to help guide you. Make sure that you read that and understand it. And then there are all of these practices that show up in a collapsed state. But if you click the chevron here, you'll see that we've exposed the plan. So you're going to want to choose your scale of adoption. Progress to date, that is a narrative field with a 2,500 character limit. And the term and year at which you reached that scale of adoption. So fall 2019. And then what are the next steps? So we'll see there's no next steps, but we need to add one. So let me click add next step. A minimum of one is required. I'll select the term and year. Put in my content. And then we have this term detail, which is optional. I'm going to add that next step. And I can edit that step or delete that step or add an additional one if I choose to. Below that, you'll see an item for support. So if you need support, you would check that box, detail the challenge or barrier that you're running into, and a detail of the support that you would request. There is also type of support. So this is a list to best guide the Chancellor's office to provide you the support that you need. So if you check that box and provide some information, someone will be reaching out to you to help support you in your Guided Pathways planning. So we'll see, I'll open up practice B so that you can see. Different practice here, but the layout of this tab is exactly the same. So once you complete all of those practices, which I have done, my validation will go to completed, and I can go on to pillar 2, get on the path. So new guidance text here to help guide you. Same layout, as you will see. So this is for practice A, which has been completed. Next steps, support types. Stay on the path, again, same. Different information being input here, but the layout is exactly the same, as we'll see. So you complete all of those. On to pillar 4, once again, same. And then once all of those are completed, we would get into the student engagement and support tab. So in what ways are you continuing to engage students in the planning and implementation of guided pathways on your campus? A minimum of 1 is required. You would check all of the items and then answer the narrative question here, engagement effort details, and course alignment. This next step, where you would upload your previously completed scale of adoption self-assessment. If you click Add Document, you can browse for the file, put in a description, and upload it, which we have done here. And then this next step is optional. This is if you would like to share a success story where you've been successful in your guided pathways endeavors. This is optional, as I said. If you wish to complete it, once you begin to complete, it will require you to complete all fields. And you can add multiple success stories if you would like to. So it's just a great way to sort of brag about the success that you've been having. Once you've completed all of those steps and potentially completed the success story, you can move on to preview and submit. So this is where everything in your Guided Pathways plan is going to lay out nicely on one page. You'll see that there is a bookmark flag here, so if I'm coming back to this regularly to complete it, I can do that right from my Bookmarks tab without having to navigate through the menu. I can share it, so if I click the share button, I can send it to recipients with comments. You can put something in there like, hey, I'm about to submit this. Please give it a review and give me your final thoughts. Or you can share it to yourself, so you could save it as a PDF file if you chose to do that. So let's suppose everything here looks good and we are ready to submit. Let's do that. By clicking Submit, you're submitting your Allen Hancock College Guided Pathways plan. Are you sure? So final check to go back and make any edits if you need to do that. Once we click Submit, we will see that our status has changed to a submitted state, and this is no longer editable. A notification has been sent to your approvers letting them know that this plan is completed and awaiting their approval. In their email link, they will have a link to this plan where they would see an approve or a reject button. If you feel the approval isn't timely, you can always click this send reminder button, which will send a reminder to Kevin saying, hey, just a reminder, Kevin, you're the approver for this plan. Please go in at your earliest convenience and approve it. So that is the Guided Pathways planning process. Thanks for tuning in.